Hi out there in the YouTube world. This is part 5 of the Nakshatra series, and it's going to be on Mrigishira. Now, that's also my sun sign, which I think is really awesome because most people would just know me as like a Taurus, because that's what normal Western astrology says. But if we want to like zoom in even more specifically to it, like if you're looking at the zodiac wheel, it lies 50-50, like right dab in the middle between Taurus and Gemini. Now, in doing that, you have to remember that Taurus is Venus, it's fixed, and it's Earth. And that Gemini, Mercury, mutable air. So when we combine all of these different elements, what do you get? Well, you get Mrigishira. And its symbol is the deer, or more specifically, the head of a deer, like in the antlers, you know? And they represent some basic concepts such as like searching. They're very timid. Not really that timid though, because I don't think most people would say I'm timid. But I'm, even if you are a Mrigishira out there, your chart's not going to be the same as mine, so everything else is still different, like your moon and your ascendant. So, to go into some of the details of it, it's cast, which I forgot to mention cast in some of the earlier ones. So in the description box, I'll just kind of like cut and paste the little blurb so that you can see for yourself if you want, if I missed that for the previous ones. It's a farmer, and its nature is godlike, because you can either be human, demon, or like an angel. And it's supposed to be more like an angel, or good. So people will see it as being more like pure, innocent, like a deer. But they're also very kind of gullible because of their innocent, wandering, deer-like nature. They can lead down different routes that'll get them like slaughtered. So try not to be so gullible if you are a Mrigishira out there. Their symbol, I said, is deer head. The animal, because there's other animal representations, like its main symbol is the deer, but it's animal for like compatibility, because there's also, each one has its own animal that is compatible with another animal. And it's a female serpent. So that means that it would go well with male serpents. Whatever, I don't know off the top of my hat which one of the 27 would be for that, but if they have male serpent. Its element is earth, because it's, it's very Taurian in the nature, because like, in Western astrology it says that I'm just Taurus. But if we zoom in more specifically, I actually fall in Mrigishira. And it's still of earth element. And it still has kind of some of those fixed natures that Taurus has. But it's more about the search. Like, it's like a deer. Its myths and associations are Chandra, which is the god of the moon. Which that kind of complicates it a little bit, but basically, if they talk about the moon, it's going to bring in more of an emotional element. So they're kind of an emotional being. And their ruler is like the planet Mars. So they have kind of that like initiation energy, but in no way are they like the other Mars ruled signs, like Aries and Scorpio. They don't have that like gonna get ya, like literally war. Like they're more like, it's more of like a curious nature of that initiation where they're like, oh, what's over here? But if it's like, this giant bear trap, they're gonna, run away, because they're the deer. So, but they are ruled by Mars. And the main ideas are that they represent the search or hunt. Erotic affair. And that's also because of their, like, wandering nature. They're really, like, hard to be, like, chained down to one spot forever, like a dog. Like, that kind of gives you the mental image that that's kind of, like, what would go through their mind. Like, radiant beauty, feminine attributes. So, it's female. and maternal instincts. So like that mother, that's why its deity associated with it is Chandra, which is of the moon, which is maternal instincts. But at the same time, because it has the Gemini energy, and Gemini represents like duality. It also, even though it represents like that motherly nature, it also kind of represents cruelty, but it's in the aspect where kind of like tough love. Like if someone needs to like learn, they might be a little blunt or straightforward with things, but it's out of like maternal love, because they only would do such things like that if they truly cared about a person. Like if they didn't care about them, then they're just one of the many people. Like they're not gonna like even give them the time to bother to be criticizing or whatever. And that's kind of the Mercury energy that gets brought in. So maternal instincts and cruelty. Traits that are also associated with them is they are always cautious. So, like as I said earlier about them being timid. They have a very curious nature and seek life path and purpose. Meaning, and I relate to this because like it's my son, or like my soul essence, is that a lot of the jobs of the world, I'm just kind of like, what's everybody doing? Like where did all the philosophers go? Are we evolving? Like what's really going on? Like that's kind of, they want a purpose and a path. And that's why I really like astrology and zodiacs and the Nakshatras, because it really points out life paths and lets you know how and why you think that way. They wander everywhere in search of something. The mind is very sharp. Life is to seek for an aim or a lesson. Shy, but very curious of the world. They don't mix easily among other people. They are very untrusting of others, and have a suspicious nature of others, where they're always cautious, because like, I've had people steal from me, I've had people backstab me, I've had people look me straight in the eye and lie to me. And I remember all those kind of things, where it's kind of like, I have a cautiousness about that. Because I have learned, like, any of those past routes that Mrigishira goes through when it's wandering, it remembers. And it's like, oh, I'm not going there. Like, freaking crazy people. But, yeah, very untrusting of others and suspicious nature. Even to loyal people. So if someone's like very, 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 very loyal to them, it doesn't really like, they're not just gonna like give their trust away. Like that doesn't really happen. Like, and that kind of, I know that sucks for all you people, but it doesn't suck for me, because that just kind of, shit can't really hit a fan if you don't even, there's no fan. Like, and there's no shit, so it's just inexistent. Like, therefore, there will be no shitstorm. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to guard against problems. And a lot of that might have to do with, like, kind of cutting out people. But that's also what it said. Like, Mrigishira doesn't really mix well with the crowd. And don't really want to get into all that, but, yeah, because I already said they're untrusting, because all the bad crap that's ever happened to me from people. So, I've learned from them. They're very inconsistent and fickle, and switch from task to task. And yeah, I'm like so notorious for doing that. Like got 10 things on the go all at once, and that's just not the way to get things done. Like it's really not. You gotta just stick to it, As a note for other Mrigishira people out there, you gotta stick to the work that you do. This is true for anybody. But if you are like that, like you like if you have Gemini also in your chart strongly, you'll be wanting to switch things up a lot and like try to maintain focus. Like, they're very good talkers and charming. Huh? So, I like that. Like, it says I'm nice. they're daydreamers, and they're good at satire, and are funny. Extremely funny, it says, so. And they have the gift of conviction. Like, a lot of the signs have gifts, or like abilities that are supposed to be like blessed upon them by the cosmic universe that we're in. And they're like traits and attributes, basically, but like one that like would be kind of specially bestowed to you. And some of them have the ability to like heal, some have the ability to like destroy, and mine, for my son anyway, is, or for other Mrigishira people out there, is the gift of conviction. And with that being said, it's like, you know, they can give, because of that humor, they can give like sense of completion or wholeness. But at the same time, the sense of conviction means that like they are really good at painting stories because of that mercurial energy that is combined with them, because they're like half Taurus, half Gemini, a deer in the middle. And they're ruled by the moon and all that. Like, well, they're the moon and Mars, because like the deity, Chandra, is the moon. And then their planetary ruler is Mars. So it brings in a whole bunch of different kinds of energies. And, yeah, they're all mainly about the search, and very similar to Gemini in the whole aspect of like multitasking and being with Mercury. And on the physical plane, they're weaker. Which is because they're not lazy physically, or like, bleh, I said that completely backwards. They're lazy physically, meaning like not really wanting to do extreme work, like physical work for long periods of time, but mentally, like their brain is just like blah 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 blah, like just like kind of like going a mile a minute, and like it can be hard to like calm down the deer, especially if you're in like a really crowded public place. I can have like a friggin' panic attack because there's just all the people, and it's just like, but yeah, they are gentle in nature, useful looking, and have thin body. Their manners are always gentle. Now that's not completely true for me per se, because I have like other elements in my chart, but I suppose most of the time I come off as gentle, unless I'm like enraged. Like, but obviously everybody, when they're upset or angry, isn't gentle. But I suppose I do try to strive, like most of the time, like to make others happy, and that to try to just, you know, if there are all these cog wheels, try to just have things run smoothly, because what is the point or purpose in having conflict? But that doesn't mean I don't have conflicts, or that I don't get upset sometimes, and when I do, it's like Taurus freakout, so not always, but I guess most of the time, gentle. And they do tasks with full mental effort, so like even though they are very like sporadic and spontaneous, when they do put their energy there, it's kind of like a laser beam. Or like a laser beam at like a disco dance, or like a techno rave party where there's like laser beams. But it has to remain focused in that area for a long period of time. And so, in order to achieve the full goal, which is like completion, which makes them so happy. So this was part 5, and we'll see you in number 6, which is Ardra, which is like full Gemini. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini.